Cookie time.
Good. Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to show you how to make a homemade chocolate chip cookie. You ever been sitting at home and been wondering, it'd really be nice to have a homemade chocolate chip cookie like your grandma used to make, or that neighborhood mom that everybody went to her house and was like, yeah, she makes the best cookies. And it was very important for me to do that because my children always got those pre-made ones, and I never actually made the cookies myself. However, a friend of mine, because she loves to bake and she loves to make different things, found out that my kids love cookies, and she gave me this recipe. And believe it or not, she walked into my kitchen and all of the ingredients were right there. So in the average kitchen, as like mine, you can actually bake these cookies from scratch with the stuff that you actually have right there in the home. Now, to make these cookies, first you're going to gather all your ingredients. You want to start with 3/4 cups of butter. You want to add an egg and an egg yolk. You want to add the yolk so it'll make it nice and moist. You want 3/4 tablespoon of salt, a tablespoon of vanilla, 3/4 teaspoons of this would be baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1.5 cups of chocolate chips, 2 cups and 1/8 of flour. Now, to begin, you want to take and put your you need a cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of regular sugar. Now, to begin, you want to put your brown sugar and your regular sugar in a bowl. And I don't get a mixer or anything fancy, I just get a regular hard spoon because it mixes it quite well. And you want to put your butter, your 3/4 cup of butter, in here, but you want to melt it, because when you melt it and you pour it in here on top of your sugar, it starts to break it down and causes it to melt, which distributes the sugar very well throughout the cookie. So you want to mix that up. You want to get it all nice and moist and melted. Next, you want to add your tablespoon of vanilla. No particular brand, just vanilla. So you put your tablespoon of vanilla in here. And you continue to mix. Once you get that incorporated, you want to add your egg and your egg yolk one at a time, and incorporate that into the mix. 1, and 2. Once you get it mixed, if you notice, it has a caramel looking color. That's what you're looking for. You see the consistency. It reminds you of caramel, so that's what you're looking for. Now, to your 2 and 1/8 cup of flour, you want to add your baking soda, your baking powder, and your salt. So you pour all of that, which I'd already pre-measured, in with your flour. And then you take your flour, once you mix it up, and you pour that into the caramel mix. It all nice and stirred in there. And you know, when I was making this recipe, I wanted to know exactly where chocolate chip cookies came from. Who thought of this? Believe it or not, it was a mistake at the Toll House factory. They were making cookies, and they had chocolate bars that were sitting on a counter on top of it. And lo and behold, the chocolate bars fell into a batch of cookies. And they thought it was ruined, and needless to say, one of the guys said, let's bake it and see what happens. And they bake it, and lo and behold, we have chocolate chip cookies. Now, once you get it to a cookie-like consistency, you want to then get 1.5 cups of your chocolate chips. To your 1.5 cups of chocolate chips, before you put them into the mix, you want to put a tablespoon of flour on. You're probably wondering, well, why are you adding a tablespoon of flour? Little known secret, if you add a tablespoon of flour and shake it up and coat the chocolate chips, it distributes it causes them to mix evenly throughout your batter, as opposed to having a clump here and a clump there, and then you have a cookie without chocolate chips. Then you actually have chocolate chips throughout your batter. And you mix them into your cookie dough. So you have a nice consistency of cookie dough.
Yes. That's cool.
And I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is yummy. You can stop there. I'm done. Let's eat. But just give it a few more moments. From there, you take your parchment paper and you line your baking sheet. Now, normally I have a little helper. He's about 11 that holds my paper, but today we're going to work with science. I tend to take a second spoon of the same size, about a spoonful, give or take, and you drop it on the paper about 1 to 2 inches apart. And on this particular size cookie sheet, you can actually put 6 cookies. Now, you want your oven, depending on the type you have, whether it's electric or gas. Electric, you want it on 350, and you want to cook these for 15 to 18 minutes. Gas, you want to pull it down to 300 and cook them anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. I know for a fact gas, much hotter than electric, and I've actually burnt some cookies. At your end result, what you will end up with are these nice, fresh cookies, homemade right from your kitchen. So at the end of this demonstration, you have now made homemade cookies from basic products that are right there in your kitchen. And as always, you should share. Thank you. My name is Christine Blackman Parker.